You are not the only one. A plus is suggesting to whoever who is reading it, who is going to think about calling him to privileges committee and all that, and who is that person who has also collected money from Sledge, that all of you have taken money from Sledge. I know. So this post that I'm making about Dominic Ayine, don't try and come and tell me you are taking me to privileges committee. If you do, I'll mention all of you your name. That is A plus's modus operandi. Threats of I'll mention. Sledge and A plus are buddies. Tight. A plus gets to know the activities, the business activities, or should I say the commercial activities of Dr. Sledge, and A plus gets to know which politicians Dr. Sledge has dealt with. So if you're a politician and you're going to deal with Dr. Sledge at East Legon, the assumption is that he's told A plus. A plus knows. So if I'm a politician and I go to Dr. Sledge, somebody says, oh, Charlie campaign, can Dr. Sledge has money, can help you. Once Dr. Sledge engages with me, he says, Kwame, now name honorable be or say or your MP or your friend Paul, I don't want you name. Say me name the pie, say bra 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 obeji. Oh, but bonus the man or call and say, unim the day no. That's the kind of conversation sometimes they have. So Dr. Sledge here doesn't want to be seen in public. He doesn't want his name. He doesn't want to be heard. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't want anything public. But he may have quite a bit of questions to answer because we've stumbled on a few things. Apparently, there's a petition that went to the Office of the Ministry of Justice against him. But the most important thing is that we are finding out questions about Dr. Sledge's relationship with the Mineral Investment Fund, MIIF, the state agency, MIIF. The difficulty with the conversation is that it appears that MIIF is holding Dr. Sledge for a certain huge amount of money. The Mineral Investment Fund is concerned that Dr. Sledge may have occasioned some significant loss to the fund. We know the figure, we'll say it later, but it's big. It's more than 20 million, it's more than 30 million United States dollars, it's more than 40 million. We won't tell you the figure yet, but it's more than 40 million. This is the amount of money that MIIF is suspecting and alleging and thinking that Dr. Sledge needs to pay back to them. At some point, MIIF situation will become a prosecution matter because this is a state agency. At some point, they may have already done it or they are about to make a report on Dr. Sledge. So Dr. Sledge funds politicians. And I'm sure that being a Ghanaian businessman who is successful, he targets politicians who are of consequence. And so he knows that if this party wins, this one will be Minister for Interior. If this party wins, this one will be Attorney General. If that party wins, this one will be Finance Minister. So that's how he operates, like many businessmen in New York. So he takes his money and then he tries to balance it out that way so that either his business is protected or something like that. Anyway, he's a Ghanaian businessman. So the confusion here is that if the Sledge is having difficulties with MIIF, is it not the Attorney General who would be the one to protect the Republic? Hold it there. I'll come to plenty of things. There's a few things I'm saying. If Sledge is having difficulty with MIIF in money that is taxpayers' money, that may have ended up with him that he needs to restore so that the taxpayer is restored back to even keel, the critical person to do that will be the Attorney General. When did MIIF have problems with Dr. Sledge? 2024 and earlier, but 2024, not now. So Dominic Ayine is bringing up Dr. Sledge's name for a reason. And I'll tell you as we build up. Get me back A plus and Sledge and Dominic Ayine. Now, Dominic Ayine is under pressure by Kwame A plus. And we're going to talk about A plus and his misconduct tonight. But Dominic Ayine is under severe pressure by Kwame A plus. It doesn't happen that a member of parliament says that the Attorney General is a thief and goes on to say things like he's stupid, he's a fool. I mean, that is the lowest. I have had friends, and I'm sure many journalists too. I've had friends who call me from Nigeria, my Nigerian friend, journalists, South Africa and England, say, hey, what's happening in your country? Someone on a Nigerian said, who is the +1 man who is saying that? I said, what is +1? He said, you're +1, they're your guy. Kwame +1. I said, it's A plus. He said, yeah, whatever it is. Why is he saying the Attorney General is a, who is the Attorney General? And why is he, what's happening? I said, don't worry. I said, no, is it true though? I had to painfully say, yeah, it's true. Because he saw it on social media, these days people don't believe it. He said, is it true? I said, it is true. He said +1. You know, when you see A plus, you can think of it as different things. So Dominic Ayine is under pressure. Then the Attorney General, who is obviously under pressure, goes to a press conference to talk about some prosecution. The question comes up about A+. And he says, I know why A+ is doing what he's doing. He's doing that because I took money from Dr. Sledge at East Legon. I mean, it doesn't sit well. He says, I took campaign donation, but it is money. Said it's campaign donation from a certain Dr. Sledge at East Legon. He doesn't say who Sledge is. The Attorney General doesn't go on to say Sledge is that person. He doesn't say anything. He just leaves the name there. He exposes Sledge to the public. Do you know why? He's doing that to put pressure on Kwame A+. Because Sledge is a benefactor to Kwame A+. Sledge most likely funded heavily Kwame A+'s campaign. Sledge and A+ are very close. But Sledge doesn't want his name in the public. So if Dominic Ayine puts Sledge's name in the public as a result of A+'s rantings, Sledge is going to put the lid on A+. This is the story. Dominic Ayine is hoping that by dropping the name Dr. Sledge in the public domain at a big platform like the press conference of the Attorney General, Sledge will feel the pressure and the heat. And Sledge will know that this my name has become public as a result of A+ onya botre kwame nya botre and waya nyako bomidi me mpesa de no. So that Sledge will now put a lid on Kwame A+. Because Sledge doesn't want to be seen. And Dominic Ayine knows that he may have Sledge by the carrot and the stick. Because Sledge has MIIF issues. Is it coming? Okay. So that is the source of A+'s anger after the... Now put back A+'s post. Let me explain to you. Put back A+'s post. Okay. You put the A+'s post here and let's watch the Dominic Ayine on Sledge again. And then I'll come back. Let's watch Dominic Ayine on Sledge. Let me see that video.
I am reliably informed that his basis of saying that I am corrupt and a thief is that I took campaign contribution from a businessman at East Legon known as Dr. Sledge, and that he also knows the people who donated pickups for my campaign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if receiving donations for your campaign or getting a pickup for a campaign is thievery or corruption, then there are 276 thieves in Parliament, including the person who was making the allegation himself.
So this is what Dominic said, that, ladies and gentlemen, the cat is out of the bag. A+ is saying that because I took campaign contribution in the form of money from a certain Dr. Sledge. Look at A+'s post. Look at the first word of the post. Look at it. He says, no. That no means a lot. Don't mention Dr. Sledge. Dominic, what is wrong with you? Why are you talking about Dr. Sledge? Who told you to mention? He said, no, that is not true. That's A+'s first reaction. No, to confirm to Sledge that he did not say that. So he's making it, this, what I said is not for Dominic Ayine's attention, it's for Sledge's attention. No, that is not true. What I said was, because according to my information, you went to beg. He doesn't say who Dominic Ayine is begging. We will assume that it's Sledge. But he doesn't say who. He says you went to beg because A+ does not want to mention Sledge's name in public. He doesn't want to do that because Sledge doesn't like that. Dominic Ayine has done something disturbing to Kwame A+ by dropping the name of Sledge. Sledge himself is a problem that the Attorney General should not be talking about him. I'll come to that in a minute. I'll come to that. He says you went to beg for 500,000 cedis that you were going to use it to bribe. You see, A+ is moving the conversation away from Sledge and bringing in other things that will generate interest of the reader, the Appointments Committee of Parliament. That's what he's trying to do. And he's writing this in anger and frustration against Dominic Ayine. That's why he ends the way he ends. Because as he's writing it, his anger against Ayine is building up. His anger against Ayine this time is not so much about the corruption, it's about the name of Sledge that Ayine shouldn't have mentioned. This is A+'s anger at this stage. You went to beg for 500,000 cedis that you were going to use it to bribe the appointment committee. Now, who will go and beg for money and say, I'm going to use it to bribe appointment committee? But A+, it is possible that he must have told him that, oh, I need to see the committee and all that. Yes, it's possible. But A+ is using the word bribe so that it will catch attention. And he's using the appointments committee so that it will look like a scandal, moving it away from Sledge. Because Dominic Ayine said, I went to a businessman in East Legon called Dr. Sledge to take campaign contribution. And he ends there. He doesn't say who Sledge is. A+ knows that this is going to be pressure on him. So he says, when to use the appointment committee to parliament, that you were going to use the bribe to bribe the appointment committee of parliament. So he's saying again, heaping more pressure on the Attorney General, that the Attorney General, when he was going for his vetting, had evinced an intention to influence the appointments committee by bribery. This is worse against the Attorney General. This is A+ intended to say something bigger than the first one because he has mentioned Sledge's name. A+ now says that in addition to talking about corruption of the Attorney General, here is some evidence that he's providing. That the Attorney General took money to go and bribe the Appointments Committee of Parliament to secure his vetting. Very dangerous matter. Tonight I'm going to list all the Attorney Generals of the Fourth Republic and then we'll look at something. Fourth Republic Attorney Generals, and we'll look at something. What A+ said here is terrible. It requires people to be resigning. It requires people to be leaving and a committee being set up. And that's why I was talking about AyEka, the leader of the house. This is massive. So A+ is desperate to move the story away from Sledge. It doesn't mean that A+ is creating the story. I'm not saying that. He's looking for something and he may have found it that will take the attention away from the Sledge that Dominic Ayine talked about, because all of us media people are now going to jump on, hey, who is Sledge? Who is Sledge? This is what Ayine wanted. This is what A+ doesn't want. This is what Sledge hates. Ayine wanted people to say, who is Sledge? Who is Sledge? Sledge will feel that A+ has put me into trouble. Then, because Sledge has a lot of trouble, I'll tell you tonight. He said he's going to use that to bribe the appointments committee. And then he goes on. And for your information, you are not the only one. A+ is suggesting to whoever who is reading it, who is going to think about calling him to privileges committee and all that, and who is that person who has also collected money from Sledge, that all of you have taken money from Sledge, I know. So this post that I'm making about Dominic Ayine, don't try and come and tell me you are taking me to privileges committee. If you do, I'll mention all of you your name. That is A+'s modus operandi. Threats of I'll mention.